Hey guys, welcome back to Spitball Experts. It's been a while. We've taken a break for various reasons. Well, I've been on holiday.
Life,
Life.
life.
I've been on holiday. This is a hobby. So make of it what you want. So welcome back to Spitball Experts. If you are new to us, we are two friends talking about life, about politics. Sometimes maybe it's very different
Nonsense.
and some nonsense,
Nonsense.
and then we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk about religion, about theology. Um, so, hey, welcome to the channel. My name is
Mm.
Dirk, and I love talking a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, that is very true. Anyway, hi everybody. My name is Arnold. As Dirk said, if this is your first time here, it's great to have you here. Also, we would love to hear from you guys. So please get in touch with us from wherever you are in the world. We see we've got a lot of people up in Europe. Hello, Europe.
Hello, Europe.
For you that is not on the video, I just made a very awkward face. Anyway, so yeah, we are excited about today being back, just talking a bit more about things that are going on in this world. So, Dirk, before we get into that, what's been going on in your life? If you can, like, summary, 10 seconds.
10-second summary. So I decided to buy myself a wetsuit, not to go diving or anything, just because it's been raining non-stop here, man. That's ridiculous. So I live in
A
Switzerland.
wetsuit for rain.
Yeah, like just like I don't know, maybe like
I want
I
to
don't
see
know that
this.
it just feels right. It just feels like so much rain. I mean,
Okay.
it's been really really ridiculous. So yeah. Anyway, um,
Okay.
except the weather, we've been doing a lot of things. It's summer over here, so went on holiday,
Yeah.
went to Italy, had nice pizza. So
Nice.
man, I saw the Eternal City. That was so Rome. That was brilliant. So
Yeah. Did you
bragging on.
ask for pineapple on your pizza?
No, but I did try to knock on the Pope's door. He didn't want to open, so I don't know if he would
But
have actually.
COVID, social distancing, all of that, I think he just wants to
He wants to
stay.
chill. Well, the Pope's in hospital. So by the way,
See, that's why I didn't answer.
pretty hectic, pretty
Yeah.
hectic operation. But anyway, so what's up with you, man? So you've got like 15 seconds since I went over time. So you're up.
Uh, I'm in South Africa, so we've had a bunch of riots here. So my wife and I are trying just to stay safe. But everything's good now. A big highlight for us in our personal lives is we have a dog, but our dog finally got a fence in our yard. So she
Aha.
can just go and do whatever she wants, and she can run around wherever she wants, and we don't have to run after her, which is great. So for all of the parents out there, I maybe feel like 1% of what you're feeling right now. Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Life
I
isn't
just
that extreme. Oh, and I'm preaching tomorrow. So
Oh,
yeah.
ooh, nice,
Yeah.
nice,
So yeah.
nice.
For those of you that didn't know, we are pastors as well.
Yeah, that
Dirk is
that
the
is that
smarter one. I am the not so smart one.
I don't know if you can say that. Like IQ is a different topic. I don't know. Um,
Okay,
uh,
the wisdomous one.
the wisdom is is that even an English word?
Well, it is now.
Well, if you're English, so we are not native speaking English. So if you're English, please let us know if wisdom is a English word. If not, then we are sorry for destroying the English language. That's what we do.
If it
Um,
isn't, now it is.
And now it is.
Now it
Maybe we
is.
should write like Oxford or something. Like, can
I
we
think
please
so.
have this? That would be cool. That would be really, really
It's
cool.
a good part-time job. Anyway, so
So, South Africa's been through a lot of things lately. I mean,
mm.
you've got riots, people trying to stuff TVs in too small boots. Like, it's
Yeah,
been
it's
a minute for you guys
crazy.
over there, right? Like, I mean, just context wise, for someone looking at CNN,
Mm.
whatever, please just quickly explain what happened.
So, our former president Jacob Zuma was put into prison. for various reasons, but the official reason was he didn't show up to court, basically. But then he was put into prison, and then there were a few instigators in this, but then they instigated that people need to attack the Durban region, the KwaZulu-Natal region.
That's where he lives. He lives, right?
Yeah, he lives in Nkandla, which is in KwaZulu-Natal, but also he's placed in prison in Escort, also in KwaZulu-Natal. But the riots were instigated basically towards the KZN region, which was a big section of the North Coast as well. But then also here in Gauteng, in Johannesburg, where a lot of looting started and rioting started and businesses were burned down. And at the end of the day, basically what happened was what we realized, what the police found out, was that there was there were 3 instigators in this, but the whole point was for the people to get riled up to basically just cause chaos. But then the people took it a step further, and that's when they started looting and putting other people in danger. And so it just really got out of hand. But we did find out that it only costs us 10,000 Rand to save a storefront. And that is by throwing a bunch of cooking oil in front of the store. I don't know if you guys saw that. They basically chucked out a bunch of oil in front of the store, and you weren't able to walk in front of the store. It was hilarious, but it was effective. So, and that's where we are right now. So we've still got a bunch of issues up in Phoenix, in the north, more in the north of Durban.
So if we're talking about Phoenix, we're not talking about Phoenix, Arizona, or something like that.
This is Phoenix, KwaZulu-Natal.
Durban, province in South Africa, like KwaZulu-Natal is province in South Africa, just for those of you who don't know demographics of South Africa.
It's by the sea.
It's on the east coast, right?
Yeah, east coast.
Yes. Whoa, we almost got caught in our own geography there.
Yeah. So, well, you had geography as a subject, so I think. Anyway.
I did. But hey, so do you still have like contact with people down? Like I know that you lived down in Durban for a bit, so
the people that
like people down there, or how are they doing? I mean, they were in the thick of it. I know my parents you guys up in Johannesburg also were in the thick of it, but like how was it? Like that's a ridiculous that's just ridiculous thinking, hey, you're sitting there, one moment you're still enjoying your life, and the next moment it's almost an insurrection. You almost have a war type of feeling going on. I mean, that is a lot to handle, especially in a pandemic.
Yes, from what I saw, so where we were in Johannesburg, we didn't have such a big impact on us where we are in the West Rand. So we had more of a prevention method that was put into place by the people here. And what I mean by that is, for example, the one day the looting was, it was maybe 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers from us. And people closed all of their storefronts at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon so that the people can get home, so that the staff can get home safely. I think to an extent that was the worst that happened on our side here, but I do know that it wasn't as bad in the rest of Joburg, or it was not as easy in the rest of Joburg. More than that, in Durban, what I do know about the people that I still know down there is they didn't sleep. They patrolled the areas. Umhlanga, for example, is in the north coast of Durban, was cordoned off, basically. If you wanted to get into Umhlanga, you needed to provide a proof of residence that you actually stayed in Umhlanga. Stuff like that. The people of the communities were patrolling the areas all night. Seeing some of the old people I knew back then on Facebook and on Instagram patrolling at night, putting in 48-hour shifts to keep people safe. Some of the stores, or some of the people weren't able to drive their cars to the store because they had to walk to the store because the roads were closed off. So it's something that was quite extreme in many areas. I do know in Durban there is a factory outlet section called Springfield Park, which is more heading towards your Durban than your Durban North, but it's just outside Durban North. where most of the stores there were burned down. You know, all of these stores, the Nike store, the Adidas store, the Kingsmead store, the storage space, everything was burned down and looted. And so a lot of people lost their jobs or their homes or their livelihoods or their memories or, you know, whatever it is. So yeah, I think that was
That's
some of the
crazy. I
biggest
mean,
repercussions.
there's some heroes going out. I just read in the
Yeah.
newspaper that this guy in Soweto, he would just basically slept in front of the in front of the shopping center. Like people in the community. What I thought find interesting is the communities started standing together,
Yeah.
which is also cool.
Yeah. I
I
have to
guess.
say, just one
Yeah.
thing that was really amazing for me about this is within there's a very specific area. I cannot remember which area it is, but it's a farming community. But obviously, if you know South African history, especially in the farming communities on many areas, in many areas, there's still a bit of a racial element there. So the farmers stood together with the taxi drivers to protect the malls, to protect the shopping centers. They would park their buckies and their or their SUVs and their taxis around the mall and kind of work together to protect the areas that needed protection. So that was great to see as well. And yeah, it just created a different atmosphere within South Africa, which is great. So
I mean, it's a crazy thing. I was to be honest with you, and I think I don't know if my fellow South Africans are gonna slay me for this one, but I was a little bit disappointed in how we handled things as a South African.
yeah,
I'm not gonna pretend to know how people who are really poor feel and how they love, because to be honest, I mean, we grew up in a, or I can speak for myself. I grew up in a pretty stable home.
mm,
We had everything we needed, which, for a lack of a better word, because I think the word privilege is being used in quite some context, out of context sometimes. But I'm not gonna start to pretend to know how they felt, but feel and how they try to make their day-to-day life function. Um, but I was a little bit disappointed, when I read all of these things, and
yeah,
obviously living in Switzerland, people are like, what's going on in your country? Um, I was pretty ashamed.
yeah,
Because I think it we used to deal with things different in South Africa.
mm,
Yes, we have our issues. Yes, but we somehow, for me, looking at Africa or the continent, I always felt like, hey, we kind of still deal with stuff in a sub proper manner.
mm,
Not perfect. No one's ever gonna get perfect, but kind of still deal with it in a proper manner,
that's
in
true.
a sense. And I just felt like, man, I'm just so, man, come on, guys, we can do
We can
better.
be better.
We
Yeah.
can be better. We can have a civil discourse. Um,
Mm,
I mean, there's a different way. Like, one man is not worth the entire country, and I'm
yeah.
sorry. Like,
But I think that's the thing. There's a bunch of agendas currently going on within the leadership structure or the previous leadership structure. Because unfortunately, there is a big, I want to say there's a big idea around the thing of what can I do for myself? What can I do to enrich my own life? I don't care really about the people out there, about my people, but what can I do for me? And unfortunately, that has a ripple effect from previous leadership that is still having I want to say, an effect in other generations now. But if we can have some sort of I want to say, a stop in that process to a point where we are right now, where people are getting fired, people are getting reshuffled, people are being taken out of leadership positions because of what they've done, the effect later will be much greater than what it is right now.
look,
And unfortunately, we're still seeing some of the negativity from previous leadership.
yeah. But if you look at the ANC, that's the ruling party in South
Mm.
Africa, um, quite split down the middle at
They
the
are,
moment.
especially
Uh,
now, especially
so
now.
I just feel like I'm so glad you touched on leadership. Um, the A kingdom divided cannot stand. I mean,
Yeah,
that is some dropping some wisdom from Jesus there. Um, and I feel like you cannot try and create or build a country and
On
be
split
divided.
leadership.
Like there's all these radical ideas out there, and
Yeah.
I don't know how is for you or as for you guys listening. Like for me, sometimes I just think, man, it's too much radicality for me. Like there's just too many radical ideas
Yeah.
floating around. Everyone knows better, but no one agrees. It feels like to me we're in a stage in life where no one agrees, and it's just yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy
Yeah,
thing.
I agree, and I think the problem is we ask ourselves this question: is who do we listen to? Because everyone is so passionate about their own truth. The reality now is, okay, but who do I need to listen to? You know, who do I need to? Which leader do I look up to? Do I look up to a specific party leader? Do I look up to another leader? Do I look up to, you know, South Africa is now in the process again of choosing the new or a political party, but more in the municipal context. However, now there's a bunch of things happening. Okay, but leaders are doing good things now, which is kind of trying to get us in their good graces. And other leaders are standing up to this leader. And it's just becoming a thing of, okay, but who do we listen to? You know, it's the whole debate, especially around the world right now, about vaccination versus anti-vaxxers. You know, what is true? What is actually true is, I heard a conversation this past week that the World Health Organization is lying to us about a bunch of things. And the reality is, who do we listen to, especially in leadership? And I think that's where a bunch of people have frustration, where they feel frustration. And yeah, that's a big problem in South Africa, because as rich as we are in culture and as rich as we are in, I want us to use the word Ubuntu for some reason, as rich as we are in that, so we are just as rich in opinions. So yeah,
Look,
everyone has an opinion.
I think opinions can polarize, right? Let's take a step back. Let's move into the church context.
Yeah.
I don't know how the conversation went down after the riots and stuff like that, because for all practical reasons, I do not live in South Africa. So again, it's can not
Outside perspective.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing with opinions, right? Like I can still build my opinion from this side, but I still. That's I guess why they call it subjective, right? Like it's not 100% objective in the way you view the world. And the information you gather, and I mean, you filter through information, you take what you think is true. But I guess that's so difficult in the church context. I mean, how does that go down? Like you have a conversation, you need to preach. I mean, all of these things. I guess the role of the church community is to be different, be in the world, but be different of the world.
Yeah.
And just looking at that, I mean, just listening to some pastors asking the government to release Zuma because hey, that's going to be the easiest thing to stop this riots. Which I think again, I don't know if that is the answer. We cannot let injustice slide just because we feel it will change the course of the short-term actions. So leadership is vital, especially in times of crisis. So I really hope you guys get it down. I don't know how the church dealt with it, and I know there was some prayer meetings being called.
Yeah.
How's that going? Continuing after now we are past the whole rioting thing.
I think so this is a much say again.
How do you guys lead your communities out of the whole hey, it happened, now we need a new way forward? What are you guys doing according like in that sense?
So once again, we have different opinions on this within South African church. However, the standing opinion or the golden thread within the opinions are that we need to take care of our people. We need to take care of the people in our communities. I know within the context that I work, we try to focus a lot on how can we keep our people safe. and what is good for our people. And I think, to just take it back to what COVID has done, COVID has come and taught us that we need to do things differently. The way that we've always done things isn't always the way things will be. And because of that, we need
What
to
do you
get
mean? There'll be a new normal?
Oh, please don't start. And I think there has to be some sort of an adjustment with the times that we're in. However, we need to be innovative in the way that we approach church. Now, I do firmly believe in coming together as a body, coming together in church on Sundays. However, other people, other churches don't always feel the same way when it comes to the amount of the people in the church, because these are mega churches. These are people with 4,000 or 5,000 people in a service, for example. And yeah, so the reality within this perspective, and I can speak from my own context, is yes, we can get 50 people in a service together. Yes, we can get people activated in that service and engaged in that service. However, we cannot forget about the people that are outside that, the people that are affected from the looting, the people that are affected in our communities, the people that are affected in that sense. And that is where we need to be the church in essence. We need to be able to engage with our communities and see where we can partner, see where we can help, see where we can pick up, where we can take hands. And unfortunately, I do see a lot of churches, or not unfortunately, fortunately, I do see a lot of churches doing the same thing. However, the bigger focus and the fight is more in opening Sundays instead of engaging with the community. And I do firmly believe that this past couple of months to a year and a half or so has taught us many things as church, and that is the one truth that we all have and that we need to focus on. And I think that the world needs to focus on right now is the following, and that is that we need to take care of one another. We need to take care of each other. And I think just scripturally context is what Jesus said, okay, but love the Lord your God with all your heart, and then love other people, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I mean, love means to take care, to put that person's interest in front of yours, that type of stuff. So I think that is the one truth in church right now. If it truly happens, in many churches, I'm unsure. But yeah, so
it's always difficult when you start talking about like church politics. You bring that in the same realm, it becomes
a long conversation.
It becomes a long conversation.
Yeah.
How about that for English conversation?
There we go.
I don't know what happened there, man. And anyway, it is a tough conversation. I think it's very difficult. Also, here I see a lot of like the free churches. They are fighting to have more people come in the building. All of that things. I mean, I guess in the end we all also experience the pandemic different.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, I guess it does create some difficulty concerning people's political stance, people's ideology around community welfare, and that I guess we as spiritual leaders, I feel like when we react to political events or political situations, I think that's our responsibility, is to not to polarize.
Yeah.
I think we will in a certain extent. The gospel itself already polarizes to a certain degree. It is exclusive and inclusive in the same sentence, which I guess makes it difficult. But I guess our job as spiritual leaders is to really try and figure out, okay, what do my people need, and what is a theological debate? What is a political debate? And where do they actually mix? And where do we have to come in and also teach our people, hey, I think we cannot make something a theological debate that is actually a pure political debate, which the lines are blurred in so many cases. So I guess that's where we land on that, is to really make sure that we don't start using the Bible to polarize and to punch people in the face, but to, yeah, like I guess that is our problem sometimes as Christians. We come over very radical. We have a radical message, which is fine,
Yeah.
but I just want to go back to what Jesus said. Be as gentle as a dove,
Yeah.
but as cunning as a serpent.
Yeah.
So we need to know
But
when
can I ask this question?
Yeah, go for
Can I
it.
ask this question? The you mentioned now about the message that we have as Christians and as Christ followers, and it can seem kind of harsh. I don't think it is harsh. I think it's simple. It is love the people around you. That's basically it. I mean, 1 John 4 speaks about, it starts off in the Message translation, and it says, okay, but God is love. And if you live in love, you live within God. If you live within God, you live within love. And I think that there is an aspect towards the message of Jesus that God did with his own son to say, okay, but my message, plain and simple, is I love you and I want you to love me. And I also want you to love your neighbor. And I think that is the simple message of Christianity. The problem is a lot of people have made it a difficult message because they threw in their own opinions, or they maybe threw in their own ideologies or their own ways of thinking because it works for them. And I just think that we need to realize that, yes, Christianity is it's focused on love. It's basically it. That's our message.
So what is your question exactly? Because
Is our
I love your
message
opinion.
really that harsh?
That is a good question, and I think it's also like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, we are pastors, we are theologians. We just,
Yeah, our perspective is different.
um, but I do think it is. I mean, Paul does say in, what is it, First Corinthians, where it says the cross will be folly to some. It will be, just sounds like nonsense. Um, so we do get some feeling that it's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to react out of it. Defining love is very abstract.
Yeah.
Where I feel God made it very tangible in saying, well, this is love, in that I give you my son.
Yeah.
I do think where it becomes complex is, and I do agree with you, it is a simple message. Where I feel it becomes complex is where it says, well, you need to kind of give up your life, like, follow me, pick up a cross, follow me. That is where I feel it becomes very, very complex for some
Yeah.
people to go, well, whoa, I need to give up I need to surrender my life to you. That is absurd, especially if you look at Western in individualism.
Yeah.
I am the most important. The I in me is very, very important.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing, and now you're saying that I should give that up. That's a lot to give up in a psychological,
Yeah.
ideological frame of mind. So I think that is where, for me, the if you look at it philosophically, that is for me where the gospel becomes complex, where I feel that is a radical message
Yeah.
in and of it itself. So we go back to the scripture you pointed out. Love your God with all your mind, body, and soul means, and then love your neighbor. I think understanding who God is, I mean, which is, sometimes I feel like it's a futile experiment to really figure out who God is, but loving Him and understanding His love for us, and I think also dropping back to 1 John again. It's not that we loved Him first; it's that He loved us first. So letting Him coming into your life, showing you what love means and what it is, I think then we can truly love our communities with
Yeah.
the same compassion, the same love, and the same want to, as He does. So I do think that's where it becomes complex for me. I don't know what you think, but that is where the complexity for me, because like in a
Yeah.
Christian idea of love, I think that
Yeah.
becomes really complex.
I think even with that, yes, I agree that there is a difficult element into this whole thing about giving up your life. But I think we need to understand what it means when we say giving up your life. It means that we surrender to God in a sense that He knows. I don't want to say He knows better, but His plans for us are to prosper. We all know that scripture. Well, most of us know that scripture in Jeremiah 29:11. But just before that scripture, he speaks about praying for your city, but praying for peace in your city, praying for peace and hope within your context, praying for or understanding that when we give over to him, we start to realign ourselves with who he is. Because we need to understand that the basic of the whole message within Christianity, the whole message within this, and I think this is where a lot of churches' leadership kind of forget or they don't understand, is that, yes, we need to surrender our lives to God, but why? I mean, this is the whole Gen Z millennial question. Why do I need to do this? What's the purpose behind this? And the purpose behind this is simply that we need to understand our origin in this. And somewhere along the line, we missed the plot. We kind of, and that was Genesis 3. We kind of got lost from our way where God was heading us towards. But now Jesus comes and he says, okay, but give up your life or surrender your life so that we may walk together, not so I may control you, but so that I can guide you, so that I can give you a better way of living, so that I can give you peace, so that I can give you hope, so that I can show you love. I mean, just in context, I mean, you and I are both married. You're married a lot longer than what I am. And I think you'll know this maybe a bit better, but you would do anything for your wife. I mean, you would protect her at all costs. You would provide for her at all costs. You would make sure that she's safe, that she's taken care of, that she understands something of love and of hope. And I mean, same with my wife. I'll make sure that that happens and my family. But I need to understand that the same viewpoint is the way that God looks at us and that we must look at God. I mean, in a world where people don't necessarily believe in God, just look at how many godly principles they're living out. And love is the basic of this, the basis of this.
Yeah. I think it's a massive conversation. And I
Yeah.
think it's an ongoing one. So I agree. I agree with you. I think understanding the dynamics of what we are built upon as a society. I mean, the Western culture is built on a Christian Judeo worldview, which might get us cancelled just for saying that. Since we are living in cancel culture.
Yeah.
It's also a different conversation in of it itself. But I guess the whole thing coming down to the bedrock of it is looking at the Christian community. Maybe it's time for us to look at our message again. What are we portraying? Who are we portraying? Because in the end, the gospel is not a what, it's a who. And it's not a couple of sentences, it's a person. So I think that makes it a whole new ball game. So I think this is a larger conversation for
Yeah.
itself, and I would love to continue this conversation another time.
Part 2 next time.
Until next time, maybe not in such big intervals. So, but yeah, I think we need to talk about the bedrock of our message. What does that actually mean for us or entail for us? So, if you are listening, we hope to see you next time. We probably have an end here, but that's okay. I think we can all live with that. It's two friends having a conversation, so we want you to keep the conversation going. Talk to your pastor, your friends, whoever. Just like keep the conversation going and try and keep it civil.
Keep
so
asking questions.
Keep asking questions. Be curious.
Yeah.
So where can people keep the conversation going with us?
Yeah. So guys, we are everywhere that you can find a podcast, but we also are on Instagram. So you guys can send us a DM there at Spitball Experts. But and I still haven't told this to Dirk yet, but surprise, I am busy building a website for us for all of our podcasts, where you guys can reach out to us as well, which makes it simpler and just much easier. So stay tuned for that. That will launch in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. But yeah, there you guys can reach us there, or just comment and we will get back to you. Yeah, we like comments. So, but yeah, thanks, Dirk, for the conversation today. It was good.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was really cool. And have a great week, man.
Thanks, you too.
Cheers, brother.
Bye.